Hello everyone, welcome to this session and a very good evening to all of you. Please let me know if I'm properly visible and audible. Is everything okay? For those who are watching me, I'm your faculty of English and I have been teaching for more than 10 years now. Um, in this series, we have started doing reading comprehension questions और उसे हम कंटिन्यू करेंगे. Target is CSAT and इसमें comprehension part, as the name suggests, is something we have to work on through a lot of practice. Variety of questions हमें मिलते हैं. One first part, just one part we have done till now. अभी आप लोग आगे कंटिन्यू करो क्लास में. You get to see more variety, more questions. Brainstorming होगी, practice होगी, and you will find yourself doing the question quicker. Reading capacity, आपकी understanding capacity build होगी, and doing the question accurately as well. It will happen over a period of time, but you need to be sure that you are attending the classes regularly. तो जल्दी से सेशन को लाइक और शेयर कर दीजिए. I am going to start. We finished doing 8 questions in the last session. तो हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Next question. I'll also put a timer on screen over here. So I'll show you how much time you are taking to solve a question. अभी इनिशियली हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो टाइम आपको ज़्यादा ही दिया जाएगा फॉर एवरी क्वेश्चन. प्लीज स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन दिस. The answer here is A. Now let's see. What do we have here? Which one of the following statement is least essential as a part of the argument in the above mentioned? मतलब यहाँ पे कौन सा not going with the main theme of the passage नहीं है ना? You will always get such questions where least या फिर इसके opposite में most का question हो सकता है. Most means where that option is highly probable as per the passage. Least उसका opposite. आंसर वॉज ए. आप लोग अगर यहाँ कमेंट में आंसर दोगे तो बहुत ही अच्छा होगा. ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री अबाउंड्स इन क्लेम्स एंड थ्योरीज कन्फाइनिंग द राइट ऑफ गवर्निंग टू अ फ्यू सिलेक्ट सिटीजन. तो ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री किन चीजों के अंतर्गत है? दैट्स इट. एक्सक्लूजन ऑफ द मैनी इज जस्टिफाइड ऑन द ग्राउंड दैट ह्यूमन बीइंग्स मे बी rightfully segregated for the good. Now people are saying that not including everyone is okay based on some theory that पहले जो सेग्रीगेशन हुआ वो सही ही होगा ऑफ सोसाइटी एंड वायबिलिटी ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल प्रोसेसेस. So this is where the passage ends, just 2 lines. अब हम अपने option पढ़ते हैं. To remind you for your exam, it's not just selection of correct option as your answer, but also rejection or elimination of remaining 3. दोनों ही process parallelly करोगे तभी आप accuracy के साथ सही answer दे पाओगे. So man seeks control over external things affecting him. Okay, man को कहाँ control चाहिए? इन सोसाइटी देर आर सुपर एंड सब ह्यूमन बींग्स. ये तो बहुत ही क्लियर है. यहाँ से सेग्रीगेशन की बात हो रही है एंड एक्सक्लूजन इंक्लूजन की बात हो रही है बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट्स गुड फॉर सोसाइटी और नॉट. तो ये तो डेफिनेटली एक बड़ा एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ द पैसेज है. एक्सेप्शंस टू यूनिवर्सल सिटीजन पार्टिसिपेशन. These exceptions are conducive to systemic efficacy. System related efficacy क्या है? गवर्नमेंट इम्प्लाइज रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ डिस्पैरिटीज. यहाँ पे है बिल्कुल डिस्पैरिटीज को रिकॉग्नाइज करा जा रहा है. तो बी और डी तो नो डाउट हमारे एज पर द पैसेज थे. जो बात सी में है, इट सेज दैट एक्सेप्शंस आर कंड्यूसिव टू सिस्टेमिक एफिकेसी. मतलब ये एक्सेप्शंस, किसी का एक्सक्लूजन, किन्हीं का नहीं होना, ये तो होना ही है. तो ऑल थ्री आर गोइंग इन लाइन विद द सेकेंड पार्ट, स्पेशली द सेकेंड लाइन ऑफ द पैसेज. Man हमेशा कंट्रोल चाहता है over external things affecting him is a very generic sentence and hence it was not as per the passage. तो कई बार least essential का meaning ये भी होगा something is not at all as per the passage, it is out of the passage. तो वो भी आपके least essential में ही count होता है. Next one. This one should be easy because it's something that relates to summing up of the passage. तो assumption और inference से easier question हो. And if you have just joined, in case अभी तक नहीं किया है तो like और share जल्दी से कर दीजिए. Correct answer here. Now, summing up has to do with something from beginning to ending. आपको पढ़ना अच्छे. So, by 2050, the Earth's population will likely have swelled from 7 to 9 billion to fill all those stomachs while accounting for shifting consumption patterns, etc. Some experts say food production will have to double. So there is a prediction number of people on the face of Earth, that number is gonna increase, and we need to game up with respect to food production. How can we make the numbers add up? Experts says higher yielding crop varieties and more efficient methods will be crucial. So farming में change था. So will waste reduction. Waste reduction में भी हमें काम करना है. Experts urge cities to reclaim nutrients and water from waste streams and preserve farmland. So there are some ways here suggested by experts. ऐसा कर लो, ऐसा कर लो. Poor countries can improve crop storage, packaging, Rich nations could back on resource incentive foods like meat and oil. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे एक प्रॉब्लम बताई है एंड उसका क्या एक सोल्यूशन, कुछ सोल्यूशंस हो सकते हैं वो बताया है. Summing up of the passage, food security is a collective challenge because rich countries are also involved. They have to do their part. Poor countries have to do their own work. Cities have to do something. Where things are going wrong, वो अपने अपने लेवल पे सब लोगों को काम करना है. So this was the best one जो पूरे फूड सिक्योरिटी इशू को सम अप कर रहा है. व्हाई नॉट ए, बी और सी? द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज ग्रोइंग वेरी फास्ट. दैट्स ट्रू, but it is not summing up the passage. So that's why this is wrong. Food security is perennial problem only in developing countries. This is narrow option. We nowhere get to see because it is a sum up question. ये assumption inference नहीं है कि hidden meaning होगा. Nowhere we get to see it is only about the developing countries or so. Okay, so gone. The world does not have enough resources to meet the impending food scarcity. Now, please understand, the passage is about something that might happen, and if it happens, what we are supposed to do. It is about food security. We need to work more on making sure that enough food requirement is met. ना यहाँ पे फूड स्केर्सिटी जो कि लॉजिकली स्केर्सिटी होगी, बट इट इज नॉट मेंशन्ड इन द पैसेज इन दैट टोन. इट्स वेरी सिंपल. ग्लास आधा भरा है और आधा खाली है. नाउ सी ऑप्शन सेज इट्स हाफ एम्प्टी. Somebody threw half of the amount, it got spilled or something, but that is not the case. For me, the passage in front of me talks about the glass is half full. So we need to sum up in the same tone, and that's why it's about food security, not scarcity, and that's the answer D. There we go, assumption question. Answer is B. I thought this thing that people will be confused between B and D, but I'll tell you the difference. Just first, let's see passage क्या बोलता है. Assumption is that first thought or something based on which the passage is written, or the author might have written the passage in support of that thought. ये होता है assumption. Now, many people in India, it's very specific to India, feel that if we, now people feel if we cut our defense expenditure on weapon building, we can create a climate of peace with our neighbors, subsequently reducing conflicting or creating a no war situation. Now, it's this one is what people feel in India, that if we cut down on our expenses on weapon building, it will be a better world. People who proclaim such ideas are either the victims of war or the propagators of false argument. So these are people from either of the two backgrounds. अब author ने क्यों लिखा होगा? Think like this. What could have been the initiator here? So, building of weapon systems by us has instigated our neighbors to wage wars against us. A is not what my passage is all about. It is about how the people feel. What is in the mind of people? The common subject is people ka perspective here. And saying that building of weapon systems, that is the core reason why neighbors have instigated war on us or we have on other neighbors. It's not what goes with the tone of the passage. It is necessary, absolutely necessary, must to have state of the art weapons system for national security. एक must है और top notch weapon system होना. Too narrow extreme option out. Now these days many people in India, okay, believe that we are wasting our resources on weapon building. This is correct, but this is what we infer. It is not assumption. D सही होता अगर question होता what do you infer, and that's the reason D is ruled out. The greater spending on weapon building by us, the greater spending would lessen the possibility of conflict with our neighbors. Right now, this can be the first thought. उसने सोचा कि अगर स्पेंडिंग जो है वो वेपन्स पर कम कर दी जाए सो मे बी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कम हो जाएगा. And then this paragraph supports this argument, not vice versa. So assumption के question में the first thought is going to be your correct answer. If this is something true, then accordingly author might have written something जो कि passage में he is expressing. And that's how you're supposed to do the assumption question. I hope it is clear now. So the question here is, what is the critical inference that can be made from the above passage? Critical inference is the conclusion which was hidden, but after reading and understanding, now you understand it. It is just not directly given, but it is hidden underneath the sentences and the meanings. Okay, C is your right answer here. Let's see how to crack it. India accounts for nearly a fifth of world's child deaths. in terms of numbers. It is the highest in the world. Of these, more than half die in the first month of life. We are getting an account of something here. Officials believe that the reason for this is the absence of steps to propagate basic health practices relating to breastfeeding and immunization. So यहाँ पे दो चीज़ों को officials are saying these two are the causes. Also, the large reproductive population remains bereft of care during the critical phases of pregnancy and post-delivery. So, pre-delivery, post-delivery pregnancy के phase में proper care नहीं हो पा रही है. Added to this, it is the prevalence of child marriages, anemia, एंड हेल्थ रिलेटेड इश्यूज हो रहे हैं. ठीक है. यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन एंड इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ मैटरनल हेल्थ एंड चाइल्ड हेल्थ सर्विसेज. मैटरनल हेल्थ, प्रेगनेंसी, पोस्ट डिलीवरी, देन चाइल्ड हेल्थ सर्विसेज विच इंक्लूड्स जो अनेमिया है उसको कैसे दूर रखा जाए, इम्यूनाइजेशन प्रॉपरली हो रहा है कि नहीं, ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग प्रॉपरली बच्चा ले रहा है कि नहीं. So all the services can effectively address the problem. After reading the issue here, this is something that sounds like a good solution. If we have international standards, if we have universalization all over the world, same standards are followed, integration of these things, so problem could be solved. बहुत easy था. The nutrition of women in childbearing does not affect child mortality rate. This is opposite of what we get in the passage. India has a very huge population, true. Government alone cannot manage public health services. So we are not blaming anyone. We are not saying in the passage that it's the government जिसके कारण ऐसा हो रहा है, or the people, or this or that. So B भी influence नहीं होगा. A lot of Indians are illiterate and hence do not recognize the problem of the value of basic health practices. Again, critical inference nahi hai ye, because it's not just about understanding the basic health practices, it's also about how India and the things here are quite different, because हमारी यहाँ पे child deaths बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं. So what are the key problems उसको describe किया है. So saying this thing that a lot of Indians are not educated enough, and that's the main reason why people are unable to understand practices, it's wrong. This is an easier question if you compare this with an assumption question or a question where inference is asked. Answer here is only the second one. You are simply supposed to fact check here which of the following statements are true or is true. So the facts in first and second or second आपको बस वो cross check करना है. Foods travel more than people who eat them. We get varieties everywhere. Grocery stores and supermarkets are loaded with preserved and processed foods. This often leads to threats such as pollution, wastage, etc., destruction, reduced nutritional content, etc. So, author is basically saying this packaging, the way they are packaged, the food and all, preserved, processed food, से क्या क्या नुकसान हो रहे हैं. Food insecurity also increases as the produce comes from the regions that are not feeding their own population properly. तो यहाँ पे एक इम्बैलेंस यहाँ पर भी आ जाता है दैट उनके खुद के रीजन में प्रॉपरली मिल नहीं रहा है खाना बट देन दे आर मे बी exporting and all. So consuming regionally grown food and not depending on long traveled food is a part of eco-friendly behavior. See, this is not what my author is saying. My author is saying there is a problem, but it's not like इसका उल्टा जो है वो सही हो जाए. It's not like you start doing like do not stop depending on the processed food and you are good to go. It is not like that. He's not saying that eat only the food that is grown in your region. तो ये message तो गलत है. He's of course saying that the food processing industry puts a burden on natural resources because you can see pollution means it's a burden on natural resource. Wastage, again, destruction of rainforest, it's a burden on natural resource. So how this processed and preserved foods are affecting environment, he has explained that very nicely here. So there you go, only the second one stands true. This was a lengthier one. I will give you a little extra time to attempt this. Please read properly, read nicely, and then answer. As I said, I'll give you a bit of extra time to attempt this one. Answer is A. Now, please understand. The question first. The author says that a thoughtless word hardly ever escapes his tongue or pen. He's saying this, which is not a valid reason for which is not a valid reason for this. Okay, so ऐसा क्यों है that he is able to say that not a thoughtless word ever escapes his tongue or pen? उसको ढूंढ लो तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो नहीं है valid reason that will be out. I must say, beyond occasionally exposing me to laughter, my shyness has been of no disadvantage, means it has been of advantage. In fact, I can see it has been to my advantage. My hesitancy in speech, which was once an annoyance, is now a pleasure. So he is happy that थोड़ा सा hesitate होकर बोलता है. Its greatest benefit that it has taught me the economy of words. मतलब संभाल के यूज करना वर्ड्स को. I have naturally formed the habit of restraining my thoughts. He think before he answers, and I can now give myself a certificate that a thoughtless word would hardly escape my pen or tongue. I don't recollect ever having had to regret anything in my speech or writing. मतलब उसने unnecessary गलत word कभी नहीं बोला. I have thus been spared many a mishap, waste of time. Experience has taught me that the silence is part of spiritual discipline. तो spiritual discipline का part है. Proneness to exaggerate or suppress or modify the truth is natural weakness. तो he's saying जो है वो बोलो, जितना बोलना चाहिए उतना ही बोलो. We find so many people impatient to talk. There is no chairman of a meeting who is not pestered with notes for permission to speak. So people mostly they want to just blurt it out, and whenever the permission is given, it exceeds the time limit, and they ask for more time. They keep talking unnecessarily. इसने एक एग्जाम्पल दिया है कि बेसिकली क्या होता है मीटिंग में. ऑल दिस टॉकिंग कैन हार्डली बी सेड टू बी ऑफ एनी बेनिफिट. ही सेइंग ऐसी बातें बेनिफिट की नहीं होती हैं. इट वेस्ट मच टाइम. माई शाइनेस इन रियलिटी माई शील्ड एंड बकलर. एक्चुअली ये अच्छी बात है. उसके पास जो शाइनेस है, इट हैज अलाउड मी टू ग्रो, help me in my discernment of truth. So he has hesitancy in his speech. Yes, this is the reason that उसका फालतू का वर्ड कभी नहीं किया, because he has been always a person who hesitates. He believes in restraining his thoughts, that also restraining my thoughts, clearly given. He believes in the economy of words, clearly given. He has no intention to waste his time. Now, this is not a valid reason why he is saying that मैंने तो कभी भी एक फालतू का word नहीं बोला. It wasn't like, it's not that he had some intention to waste or not waste time. This was irrelevant. Actually, this was kind of a result. तो यहाँ पर वो चीज आपका आंसर है. A. Next. The same passage continues, so kindly go through the question alone. I mean, now it should not take a lot of time. This was so easy. The most appropriate reason. He starts with it and he is ending with the same thing. He hardly utters or writes a thoughtless word. That's why he has spared many a mishap. Yes, he has patience, he's a spiritual person, he supports truth. But the context of I have thus been spared many a mishap is उसके पहली वाली बात है. उनमें से एक ये था initially that this was the reason why he has missed all these things. That is, he hardly utters or writes a thoughtless word. Everything is thought through properly. Same passage, last question. For the author, silence is necessary in order to surmount. अब देखो क्या बोल रहा है. Proneness to exaggerate. Somebody who loves to always exaggerate. To suppress or modify the truth. चाहकर ना चाहकर is a natural weakness, and silence is necessary in order to surmount it. Okay? So silence is necessary in order to surmount what? Tendency to overstate, exaggerate. Shyness? No. Hesitancy तो अच्छी बात होती, तो फिर साइलेंस का क्या यहाँ पे उल्टी बात हो गई. तो सप्रेशन ऑफ थॉट्स. Now, not suppression of thoughts, but suppression of truth is mentioned. Thoughts का suppression नहीं बोला है. And that's why tendency to overstate is proneness to exaggerate, and that's what you get here. ये एक indirect question था, but if you know the place जहाँ पर passage में ये बात लिखी है, you would have easily done it. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. And just to inform you guys, we are gonna continue the series where a lot of reading comprehension questions are gonna come your way. आप लोग ready रहो. Classes on Monday, on Wednesdays, on Fridays for CSAT as of now. 1:30 is a regular time. आज एक exception था. So here on this channel on these days this time. Same time on other channel, that is CGB IBPS Hub, that's a sister channel. I meet on other 3 days with my students. Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturday. Okay? Practice sessions हो रहे हैं. Absolutely free for all of you. Just you need to click subscribe ताकि आपको notification मिलते रहे. And if this session has helped you, make sure to like and share. I'll meet you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. Do check out our paid courses. Link is in the description box.